Hey, this is Dan at Studio Blue. This is Pilates Sculpt. Only things you'll need: optional weights, a set of heavier weights and lighter weights. Heavy anywhere from like 10 pounds to 15 pounds, something for like legs, squats, lunges. Lighter, like 2 pounds, 3 pounds, maybe up to 5, something for like reverse rows, tricep extension, something like that. And then if you have like a little mini ball, grab one of those, or a pillow could be used as well. If anything doesn't feel good in your body, please don't push through negative pain. Let's get rolling. So I'm going to come towards the back edge of my mat. I'm going to take the shoulders up and back, deep breath in, deep breath out. And I'm going to nod the chin and just slowly start to roll down, one vertebra at a time. And bend the knees a little bit, exhale, curl, and roll back up. Head comes up last. And again, inhale at the top. Exhale, roll down slowly. I'm going to move my mat just a little. Coming all the way down, just warming up the body, getting the vertebra to move. Press to the feet, and again, just roll up. Head comes up last. One more like this, nodding the chin, rolling down. Bending the knees a bit, and then walking out into a plank. Fingers spread, now hands under shoulders. Feet are rooting down, heels reaching back. And if you look back, making sure the weight isn't rolled out on the feet or rolled in. Now you can always take the knees down to the ground on this. You can come onto your forearms. Feel the shoulder blades are wide, inner elbows slightly forward. Front of the thighs engaged, back of the glutes engaged. Deep breath in. Exhale, lift up into down dog. And then slowly bend the knees, walk yourself back into your forward fold, heavy head, and then roll it back up. Allow your head to come up last. And again, inhale. Exhale, nod, roll it down. Bend the knees, walk out. Fingers spread, tummy in, feet rooting down, inner elbow slightly forward. Make sure your arms aren't locked out. Again, knees can be down or up on this. Eyes just slightly forward, natural curve to the neck. Use your breath. So inhaling wide into the side of the ribs, back of the ribs, exhaling, lifting through the pubic bone a little bit and lifting up through the low tummy. On your next breath out, down dog. This time bend the knees a bit and start to pedal out the feet. Feeling the shoulder blades are wide. Start to warm up the ankles, the back of the calves, the back of the hamstrings. And then just walk the hands and feet together, somewhere towards the center line of your mat. As you exhale, roll back up. Head up last. I'm going to turn to face you. So still just warming up our joints. I'm going to take the legs fairly wide, a little wider than shoulders, a little bit of a turn out. Hands are at my hips. I'm going to inhale down, hips set back. We'll lean slightly forward. Exhale, press through the feet and rise up. So it's an inhale down, hinging into the hips. Exhale, rise up. Hands can go anywhere you'd like now on this, to the chest. They can stay at the hip as a reminder of where you're moving. Every time you press up, think of pressing through the midfoot. So not just the toes, not just the heels. Make sure the feet aren't overly rolling in. There's a sense of the thighs pushing out slightly. So we're waking up the back of the glutes, front of the thighs. Now adding on your next breath out, start to reach the arms back, palms face back. Inhale, hands to the chest, come down. Exhale, push. So warming up the shoulders, inhale down, exhale, push. Good. I want you to imagine that there's some resistance in the air. So as you push back, you're starting to wake up the back of the shoulders, the arms, the underside of the armpit, waistline's in. Last two. Last one. We're going to take the hands to the chest, come down into your sumo squat. Now this doesn't have to be thighs parallel to the ground. Come down to where you deep enough to where you feel a challenge, not so much where you feel like you can't hold this for another 5 seconds, but you feel some work in the thighs. Push into the heels a little bit. Feel like your feet could literally push away from one another and see if the back of your glutes turn on a little bit more. Shoulders soft. And eyes can just be looking somewhere in front of you, about 3 to 4 feet. Neck stays long. And just for a side view on this, right, I'm down from ears through shoulder, through hips, Kind of just one long line. Tummy's in. Keep breathing into this, in through the nose, out through the mouth. Make sure the knees aren't past the toes for this, right? When you're going up and down stairs functionally in life, your knees will go past your toes. For right now though, just make sure they're somewhere about over the centers of the feet. On your next breath out, rise up, turn your toes forward, keeping the legs wide, and again, just roll down. So wide-legged forward fold. Bend the knees a little bit. Let your head, your arms, and your shoulders be heavy. On your next breath, roll back up, allowing the head to come up last. Walk the feet together. So we're going to come up to one edge of the mat. I'm going to grab my heavier weights. Now, again, all this can be done without the weights. So at any point, you can always place these down. So I'm somewhere towards the top of my mat. My feet and thighs are almost touching, and I'm going to squat back. So think kind of like a chair pose, right? I'm not going into my deepest squat. But you really want to think of the hips going back slightly in space, right? Knees somewhere over the centers of the feet for now. Shoulders back, and I want you to think of, without really reaching the weights back, just push them down towards the floor and a little bit behind you. You should feel your triceps turn on. Exhale, tap your left leg behind you. Inhale back to where you started. So the heel is lifted. I'm just on that left toe point. Exhale back. Inhale in. Exhale back. All right, now if you're on a squishier mat like I am at the studio, this is going to add a little bit more of a balance challenge. If that's too much for any given day, you can always come onto the floor, right? Just a harder surface. Now, as I reach back, I'm focusing on my hips staying square, so I'm not dropping into my left hip, I'm not rotating it. And I'm thinking of my right thigh opening slightly out to the side. So I feel those outer glutes, my standing leg, right? Thigh and glutes. Keep the arms reaching down at a diagonal. Now on the last one, hold. And then tap back in, rise up. Staying on the same leg. We hinge at the hips, hold. Shoulders roll back and down. So again, set your thigh, set your glutes. On your next breath out, your heel taps just forward. So my heel is just slightly forward of my standing leg. Center, and then tap back. Center, slightly forward. Center, point back. Center, heel down forward. Center, tap back. Center, heel forward. Keep breathing. Keep moving. Last one like this. We're going to end to the back. Tap back to center, rise up. So I still have a good amount of my weight in my standing leg. I'm going to hinge back. My left foot now won't move. So I'm hinging from my hips. Shoulders are back. Push into your standing leg, into your right leg to bring yourself all the way back up. Inhale, hinge. Exhale, push. So standing glute, standing hamstrings. Inhale down. Exhale up. Inhale down. Exhale up. A couple more like this. Back stays long, not overly rounded, not overly arced. Core muscles are in. Last two. Last one. Nice. And then just shake out that standing leg a bit. We should have felt some glutes on that. So now same thing, just opposite leg. So feet about hand distance or so apart. We hinge at the hips coming back. Think of like a quarter squat or a third of your normal squat. Knees somewhere over the front, or the center rather, of the feet. Arms reaching down a diagonal. And then your right leg, we're going to tap it back. And then just back to where you started. So I'm on a toe point, my heel's lifted. Exhale, tap. Inhale in. Exhale back. Inhale in. You might notice this side might feel a little shakier than the other side, or they might be tired just from a previous workout. Mine are tired from a spin bike class this morning. So just keep that in mind, right? Every day is going to be a little different depending on what you did the day before or what's going on in life. But definitely make sure you feel your thigh, you feel your glutes on that standing leg. Last three. 2, shoulders gently down, arms reaching down into diagonal. Last one. Come back to center, rise up, pushing into that standing leg, that left leg. Hinge back. Hold on the hinge, right? Shoulders back. Now I'm gonna flex my right foot. I'm tapping my heel just slightly in front of my standing leg, not very much. Back to center, and then I tap behind me. It's a point back, center, flex forward. Center, point back, center, flex forward. Watch that standing knee isn't overly diving in. Again, there's a sense of the thigh pushing out slightly. Breathing. As your leg goes back, you'll probably feel a little bit more glute. As your leg goes forward, you might feel a little bit more thigh. Shoulders down. Abs in. One more to the front. Last one to the back. Bring your foot to center. Push into your standing leg, rise up. So all the way up to neutral, right? We've opened the front of the hip, the back of the glutes are on. Hinging into that left hip, we come back down. Shoulders down, armpit muscles on, abs in. Exhale, push into the standing leg, rise up. Inhale down, hinging into the hips. Exhale up. Good, inhale down. Exhale up. Try to keep the back flat. Abs in. Shoulders back. So this is a really nice way to start to get into single leg movement. So most of the weight is still in that left leg. You have your right foot down here for a little bit of support. Later on, we will be doing this with less support. You can always come back to this though. Last 3, 2, last one. Bring it up, shake out that standing leg. Nicely done. Take the weights down in front of the mat again somewhere and just off to the side. We're gonna roll down. We're somewhere again at near the front edge of the mat. Hands come to the floor. We'll step back into plank. Now this can be forearm plank, knees down plank. Push into your feet. Feel your thighs engage, feel your glutes engage. Push into your arms, feel your upper back widen. And it's the sense of your breastbone pulling a little forward and your tailbone pulling a little bit back. So you're anticipating kind of where your body might want to go and engaging the muscles around to maintain this neutral posture. Make sure the arms aren't locked. They don't have to be very bent, just not locked. Biceps, triceps working together. Eyes slightly forward, breath deep. In through the nose, out through the mouth. On your next breath out, down dog. Maybe take the feet a little wider on this. Soften the knees if those hamstrings are feeling tight at all. And really just kind of allow your shoulders to drop a bit. And allow your shoulder blades to move. Let them drop and widen. Feeling some weight through the first fingers, the thumb. Big inhale. Big exhale. Shift back into your plank. Come down onto your forearms. Again, this can be on the forearms with your knees on the ground or lifted. Now my hands are together. This will give you a little bit more neck and shoulder support. Or you can always take your hands apart if you want a little bit more work in the back of the shoulders and shoulder blades. I'm gonna go hands together today. Now I'm thinking of pushing my elbows down, hugging them in, and I'm thinking my elbows and my feet pulling towards one another. Now, if you want more challenge, feet and thighs together, give those inner thighs a little squeeze. Keep breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth. Pressing into the feet, pressing into the arms. Last 5, 4, 3, 2, knees down in one, child's pose. This can be child's pose with knees together for a little bit more of a spine stretch, knees apart for a little bit more of a hip opener. Wherever you are, head heavy, big inhale. Big exhale. Keeping the head heavy, roll yourself up. Nicely done. We're gonna come onto the forearms. So this time, hands can be together. Again, if you want more support, separated for less. Knees, hand distance apart under the hips. Let the head drop heavy. Roll the shoulders down. Take your left leg, reach it back and up and pause. The right knee is just about under that hip joint. Hips are square, tummy's in. Relax the back foot. You might have to shake it out a little. And then keeping the tummy in, I want you to think of lifting that back leg a little higher, from opening the hip, firing through the center of the glutes. Inhale, bend that leg, drop it down. As you inhale, exhale, reach back and up. Inhale, down and in. Exhale, back and up. Now, things to watch here, watch that your hips aren't starting to sway to the right. But those outer right hip muscles, those outer glutes, all those little hip rotators are working to keep you from swaying. Make sure the hips are still square. Now, if your shoulders or neck start to get a little tired, the modification on this, right, the peel back is actually going to be coming up to your hands. And that's just going to take some work off the shoulders. Just be mindful if you are on your hands that your lower back doesn't start to overly arc every time you reach the leg back. Last two. And on the last one, reach up and hold. Flex your foot. Rotate your thigh out and then start to reach this leg out to the side. It's going to drop down about in line with the hip. I almost touch the floor and then I lift, come back to parallel. And again, exhaling, turning out, reaching out. Make sure you're not leaning to the right. Exhale, lift back through center. Turning out, reaching out. Lifting, rotating in. You might just give the head a little shake. Make sure the jaw is relaxed. Make sure the waistline, that left hip, isn't hiking as this leg reaches out. Even weight through the standing knee, shin, and foot, right? That leg isn't overly turned out or in. Last one. Bring it back to center, lower down, and push back, child's pose. Again, maybe the knees open on this one. Maybe they stay closed. Arms reaching out. Press into the palms gently. And feel your hips pushing back towards your heels. They might touch, they might not. Allow your head to become heavy. If it doesn't quite touch the floor, you can always use a prop, a block, a pillow, your hands. Take a big breath in. Big exhale. And then rise back up, coming onto the forearms. Again, hands together or apart. Elbows under shoulders. Feel your forearms pushing down, inner elbows hugging in. Shoulders drop down. Knees under hips, right leg, it's going to reach back and up, pause. Make sure your lower rib line is drawing up slightly, right? So obliques are active, abs are active. Bend that back leg, drop it down and in. Exhale, push it back and lift. Let the head relax down a little bit. So your neck is going to be following the line of your upper back. And your upper back, right, it's angling down slightly. So you want the neck in this position to follow that same place. So I'm looking at my bottom knee. I'm rooting into my bottom leg. I'm rooting into my forearms. I'm breathing. A lot going on this one. Just continue to move and breathe. If this is a newer exercise to you, you might feel some kind of weird, deep little muscles in the hips working. If they start cramping, just come down, take a little break, come back into it. Keep breathing. Last one, lift and hold. Flex your foot, turn your leg out, and then start to draw that leg out to the side. Try not to hike the hip. Drop that foot towards the floor. Try not to touch. Lift up and rotate back to center. Turn out, reach out. Think of rooting into your arms, root into your standing leg to help bring that leg back to center. And again, breathing out, relax the jaw, relax the shoulders down, lift back to center. Turn out, reach out, lift back to center. And again, turn out, reach out. I'm feeling these glutes with you. They're definitely on fire. I like this because it works the glutes in a whole lot of different ways. Abductors, rotators, hip extensors, stabilizers. One more. Back through center, lower that leg down, child's pose. One deep breath, in through nose, out through mouth. And then exhale, rise up, hands and knees, tuck the toes, walk yourself forward, grab onto your larger weights again. So this can be done with or without weights. So if you're not used to doing single leg balance work, definitely try this first without the weights, and you can always add in the weight if you feel stable. So my right foot is going to be on the ground. My left toes, right, they can be just slightly pointed for a little bit of support, or I can have my left leg lifted, knee about under hip. Waistline's in, make sure your standing leg isn't locked, shoulders back. And then I'm slowly, right, I'm leaning, I'm hinging into my standing leg. I don't have to go very far. I'm thinking of my back leg slightly lifting, and I'm thinking of my arms just reaching down to the ground. Push into that standing leg to rise up. And again, right, inhale to prepare, exhale, hinge. Standing leg not locked, push into that standing leg to rise up. So in this version, right, without the support of your foot, you should feel a little bit more glute. Now, this can also be done with your hands on a chair, a counter, a wall. Right. And maybe starting to come down a little further. And your hamstrings are definitely lengthening on the way down, but they're working, right? Tummy's in, hips are square. And every once in a while, you might have to bring that foot down, catch yourself for a second, come back up. A-okay. All right, feel some of the muscles under the armpits kicking in to help support you with your core. And next time you're up, set that foot down, shake out your standing leg. Again, feet about hand distance or so, a little bend in the knees to start. Push into the left leg, bend the right, core in, right leg reaches back slightly. So feel even that leg that's not on the ground, those glutes are on. Hinge into the standing leg, into the left hip. Doesn't have to be far. Push into that leg. Think midfoot to bring you all the way up. Inhale, hinge. Exhale up. Right, as you hinge your eyes, the gaze is naturally going to come down a little bit closer towards that standing leg. Yeah, right. You might have to catch yourself every once in a while. A-okay. Check that the standing foot, right, there's going to be a little bit of movement there. If it's adjusting, just check that it's not just your first toe trying to do all of the stability work for you. That's not just trying to basically kind of hold you here. Last two, you might feel some muscles in your lower leg here as well. Last one, tummy's in, hinging from the hip. No back tension, lots of legs, lots of hamstrings, glute. Next time you're up, set that foot down, shake out the legs. All right, I'm gonna turn to face you on this one. I have my larger weight still. I'm gonna bend my arms and take those weights just somewhere to the top of the shoulder. Elbows can open slightly. Feet shoulder distance. Now, before you go anywhere, kind of imagine you were pushing your feet outward to the outer edges of your mat. So you feel the glutes turn on. Inhale, hinge the hips back. Eyes will come down slightly. Exhale to come up. Inhale, hinge. Exhale, push through your feet to rise up. Hinging into the hips, pressing into the legs. Inhale down. Now, if you want to add on, exhale up. Arms reach overhead, palms face one another. Can drop the weights back to the shoulders. Again, hinge down. Exhale, reach. Inhale down. Now, if you generally use lighter weight for your overhead reaches, switch to your lighter weight if you want to focus more on your shoulders. If you want to focus more on your legs, stick to the heavier weight. Just don't push overhead. Now, other ways to modify for any kind of shoulder impingement, arms can come down. You can curl and push just to about shoulder height, lower and drop the arms. Rising up, about shoulder height, down and reach. So lots of different ways to play around with this movement. But feeling legs, shoulders, everything working together. Inhaling down, exhaling up. You can drop the arms, curl, and then reach all the way overhead. So again, lots of different ways to move. Last one. And the next time the arms come down, we're just going to take those weights back over towards the top of our mat. All right, so if you're using a ball today, grab your mini ball. And somewhere at the center line of the mat, if you're not using it, this can all be done without it, or a pillow folded up. But I'm going to take this ball somewhere towards the bottom of my ribs. Tailbone heavy, low tummy in, hands behind the head to start. Now the pelvis, right, it's not super tucked. My abs are in, I have a little bit of length to my lower back. Elbows are forward. Inhale, I'm going to start to stretch back. So my mid back, my upper back that comes into extension. I'm not going into my full range. I could go further, going about halfway, 3/4 of the way down. Then I'm thinking of pushing my ribs into the ball to curl up. Inhale back and down. Abs are still working as they lengthen. Exhale to curl. Ribs glide down, low tummy in. So keep going with this. And if you find as you go down and as you curl up, you feel some lower back tension, just scoot yourself forward and take the ball higher on your back. If you're doing this and you're like, oh, I don't really feel anything going on, take the ball a little bit lower on your back. And you might decide like halfway through the movement, you have to adjust it or change. That's okay. Last two. Last one, try to keep the head relaxed in your hands. Next time you curl up, pause. Arms reach forward, shoulders just easy out of the ears, arms parallel to the floor. Imagine that you're driving, right, a school bus, something with a really big wheel. As you exhale, you're going to turn that wheel to the right. So I'm rotating to the right, inhale back to center. Hips stay square, exhale, I turn that wheel to the left. So I'm rotating left, inhale center. So it's kind of this up and over action of the ribs. So there's a rotation. Just check that you're not going into a big side bend. Now, if you want a little bit more challenge, hands behind the head, exhaling to twist, inhale center, exhaling to twist. Now, if you find hands behind the head, you actually feel less abs, go back to the other version, right? So what might be hard for one person, might be a little bit easier for the other. Inhaling center, exhaling to twist. Keeping some weight in your feet, check that they're not moving around too much, the knees aren't swaying. Once you finish to that left side, bring your hips towards your feet, taking the ball higher up on your shoulder blades, and then stretch back. So the focus in this extension is a little bit more in your upper spine. My head's still supported, eyes towards the sky, elbows towards the sky. Big inhale. Exhale, curl up. Reach the legs forward, point your toes. Reach your arms forward. Ease into the shoulders, and as you exhale, engage your abs. Roll yourself up to seated. Take your ball off to the side. So now, knees bent, feet flat. My legs are somewhere towards the top edge of my mat. If you want a little more stability, you can take your ball in between the knees, right? Or you can just keep it off to the side. My hands are going to come under my thighs. Big inhale, sit tall, roll the shoulders back. Squeeze the ball lightly, curl the tail, and roll your pelvis back. Allow your lower back to follow, and kind of catch yourself with your arms. You still want a little bit of a bend in those elbows. Take an inhale. As you exhale, you can take your right arm forward. Inhale, grab onto your thigh again. Stabilize to the core, inner thighs. Exhale, left arm forward. Inhale, hand to the thigh. Adding on, maybe exhale, right arm forward. Left arm forward. Take an inhale. And then exhale, right hand to the chest. Inhale forward. Exhale, left arm to the chest. So adding on, right, you have less stability because we're not using the arms for support. And then as this hand comes a little bit closer to the midline of the body, your abs have to work a little bit harder. So the sides of the ribs, the base of the ribs, the deep tummy, the pelvic floor. Now, if you want a little bit more challenge yet, the next time you get to your right arm, you can take your right hand behind the head, inhale it forward, and then exhale, left hand behind the head. Now for me, I have to curl up just a little bit higher. There we go. I feel more abs there. So again, lots of different ways to play around with this. One more each side. Last one to the left. And then hands to the shins, sit tall. Take your prop off to the side if you're using it. Feet together, butterfly the knees open, and fold forward. You can allow your feet to open for a moment. Give them a little squeeze, a little massage. Let the head be heavy. Take a breath into the base of the hips. Exhale, maybe get a little heavier. And then restack sitting tall. Legs together, arms forward. We're gonna roll down to our back. Now you can take your hands to your thighs to do this, or just come all the way down. Left leg to the floor, right leg is gonna hug into the chest. Open the right arm, inhale, take that leg across the body. Right shoulder fairly heavy. I'm not forcing or jamming it down, but there's some weight there, stretching from the armpit to the hip. Now, as you exhale, use your waistline, come back to center, right leg to the ground. Left leg into your chest. Inhale that leg over. Left arm opens, palm turns up. Breathe into that side. So every time I do this every week, I always feel this in a little bit different, and a little bit of a different place. So it might be more in the armpit area, in the lats, maybe in the back or the outer hip area. Right, just breathe into wherever you're feeling that stretch. Exhale, use your stomach, use your core, bring yourself back. And then hug both legs into the chest. Grab the back of the thighs. As you exhale, nod your chin, curl the chest up just to the tips of the shoulders and bring the legs to tabletop. Now on your next breath out, your arms can go forward. You can stay here or take your hands together behind your head, wherever you can keep your shoulder blades a little bit off the ground. On your next breath out, right heel taps down, waistline draws in. Inhale up, and then exhale, left heel towards the ground. Inhale up. Adding on, maybe right leg stretches forward, 45 degrees, no change to the back line. Exhale, left leg forward. Again, you might find if your abs are getting a little tired, the reach of your arms forward might help lift you a little bit higher off your shoulders. Head can always come down to the ground with the arms. So again, lots of different ways to play around with this. One more each side, exhaling to reach or tap. Last one to the left. And then bend the knees in. Grab the back of the thighs, take a big inhale. Exhale, nod the chin, thighs into the hands, roll yourself up, and we're gonna come onto hands and knees. Last strength exercise. So I'm gonna grab one of my lighter weights. So 2-3 pounds, soup can, right? Nothing too heavy. So my right hand is under my shoulder, low ribs lifted, tummy in, shoulder blades wide. My left elbow comes just in line with my shoulder, about around the base of the ribs. My right leg reaches back, toes on the floor, right? Pushing my foot down. Exhale, left arm reaches back. So tricep kick, kick back. Inhale, bend in. Exhale, reach. So just staying here for now. Exhaling to reach. Inhaling to bend. If you want a little bit more challenge for your balance, just float your right leg off the ground. Opening the hip, getting a little bit more glute on that standing leg. Now I want you to keep reaching. This time, just turn your palm to face up as you reach. You're gonna hit a different part of that tricep. Exhaling to reach. At the end, that palm is facing up. Shoulders are easy. Lower ribs are lifted. Shoulders and neck not gripped out. Last two. Last one, reach and hold. And then lower down. So staying on the same side for a moment, just kind of reset up your shoulders. So as I push into my right arm, I feel a little bit of the front of my chest, the back of the shoulder, shoulder blade, abs in. Right leg comes back again, toes to the floor. Now my left hand with my weight is somewhere under my chest, about the center. I gently shrug my left shoulder on my ear, and I'm gonna reach that arm out to a T. So the back of the shoulder should fire, inner shoulder blade, and then I just bend and come back to where I started. So as I reach out, I'm already thinking of that shoulder blade drawing in a little bit down. So inner shoulder blade, bottom of the shoulder blade, back side of the shoulder. Ribs in, tummy in. Deep breathing, last 6. And in. 5, 4, and this can be done with no weight at all. 3, control it on the way out. 2, and on the way in. Last 1. Bring it all in, round your spine or take child's pose. Spread the fingers, curl the tail, big inhale. Big exhale. Open the chest. I'm going to take that weight into my right hand. I'm setting my left arm, inner elbow slightly forward, shoulder set. So top, front, back, right arm by my side, left leg back, toes on the ground, tummy in. Exhale, reach the right arm back, palm faces in to start. Exhale, reach. Inhale, bend, neck long. So just imagine the crown of your head, the very top of your head, you can just kind of gently lengthen out. The chin might drop slightly, right? I haven't dropped my head, but I'm just creating a little bit more length in the back of my neck. Inhale, bend, exhale, push. You might notice that standing arm, right? Left arm, those triceps are still working from that previous round. As you reach, turn the palm up. Inhale, bend, exhale, palm turns up to the sky. So you're going to feel a little bit more of the outside of the tricep kick in. Keep checking in with the waist, the jaw, the neck. If there's any places on your body that like to get tight or maybe tired first, just breathe into them. Inhale, bend, exhale, push. Last 2. Last 1. Lower that arm down, right? Shake it out for a moment, reset up. Standing hands spread wide. We're still on that same side. Tummy in. My left leg's back. My right hand is just somewhere under the center of my body, around my breastbone. The shoulder's a little bit out of the ear. Exhale, as I reach out, my shoulder blade draws in and down. That arm reaches out to the side. Inhale down. And you'll notice, right, as I reach, you can't really see my weight anymore because I'm still shoulder height. I'm not really lifting above it. Exhale to reach. Think of starting the movement with your shoulder blade and then allowing the arm to follow, the upper arm and the lower arm. This is even working into your wrist extensors as well. Last 5. Nice and controlled. 4, 3, 2, last 1, and rest. Weight can come down and take a child's pose. Feet together, knees open, hips back. Walk your arms over to the left. Let the head be heavy. Breathe into the right side and maybe let that right shoulder lift for a moment. Just see what it feels like. You might get a little extra stretch down the waist, down the armpit. And then you can just kind of let it be easy, not lifted, not jammed down. Walk the arms over to the other side. Think of reaching back through the left hip and reaching down and forward with the left arm. And again, maybe it feels good just for a moment to let that left shoulder lift, and then it can kind of settle down. And then coming back to center, rising up hands and knees. So from hands and knees, the right knee is going to make its way towards the right hand. Kick the foot open and send the left leg back for pigeon. So we can be on the hands for this, shoulders gently out of ears, rocking the hips a little from left to right and finding the place that feels centered. It's generally where you feel that stretch pretty deep in the side of the hip. Now, if pigeon doesn't feel good, figure 4 stretch, A-okay. Right, if you want to be on your forearms, take it down. Easy in the shoulders, maybe relaxing the head on your hands or a pillow. Just make sure wherever you're at in this, you can still breathe. Big inhale, big exhale, breathing into the tummy on this one. And then rising up, maybe through a down dog, maybe hands and knees. But eventually, left knee, left hand, kick the foot open to the opposite end of your mat and come into round two, side two. Shifting a little from side to side, find that place that feels centered, evenly weighted. Maybe coming down onto the forearms. Shoulders nice and easy. And as I breathe in again, I'm thinking of breathing down into my stomach, breathing down into that left hip area. And if you're not sure how to, get your breath into that hip, just think of breathing into the left side of your tummy. One more full breath. And then coming up to hands and knees, make your way through a down dog into a forward fold. And then over bent knees, just hanging out here for a moment, heavy head, big inhale. As you exhale, slowly start to roll up, heavy in the arms, heavy in the head. Allow your head to come up last. At the top, just give those shoulders a couple circles, up, back and down, and reverse them. Check out the arms a little bit. And then feel your weight not just on your toes, not just on your heels, centers of the feet. Take an inhale. And exhale. One more time, inhale. And let it out as you exhale. Thanks for joining. We'll see you again.